All right, testing, 1, 2, 3. Lug the artist has had way too many whiskeys. So, on this video, I'm gonna go over my creative process uh, that I go through on this channel. You know for a fact, I don't draw with any reference material. So in this video, uh, what I was trying to showcase was demons versus angels. It's an idea that I kind of had. I had a couple of pictures, and this video is actually an older video, but I wanted to show it to you to show how I go about my creative process. So, you know how I am. Anything that I draw, anything that I record, I don't waste. I keep everything, unfortunately. So, uh, so I want to make this video to describe my creative process, and future videos will be about the next steps that I take after I do this process. So a good part of my life is uh, my family. I can always talk about them, but they're doing amazing. I visited them over the weekend. They were cracking me up. We all watched some of my videos, and it was amazing because my sister, my brother-in-law, they were actually intrigued. I actually held their interest for about a good 10 minutes, which is great. But for them nieces, they young and they ain't got no time for anybody. They like, oh, we already know Uncle Lee can draw, so why the hell we watching this video? It's Sunday and we gotta go to school tomorrow, so we got some stuff that we'd rather be doing right now than chatting up with our uncle. Sorry, still love y'all, regardless. So another good part of my life is the other day I bought a new set of pencils. So I got a 2.0 pencil, which is real thick lead pencil. I normally draw with a .5 mechanical pencil, which is good for drafting. You'll see on this video I use the non-photo blue, uh, non-photo blue, which I'll explain a little bit more later in the video. Also, I realized that I was being cheap and I need to stop being cheap. I was using a webcam from a previous job that I had. That was at no charge. Pretty sure they took it out of my check. I just never saw the numbers, but I was using that, and then the headset from my current job where I talk to people for a living. So, with all of that, I decided to upgrade the equipment. Now I'm just going to use the expensive camera that's on our phone that we all have. And then I bought some earbuds. So hopefully this audio is a lot better. If it's not, after I make this video, what we do here, my lug heads, we approve on everything that we do each time we go around. So another thing that I learned is highlights. They're going to be of the full show. I'm gonna put that out on TikTok and Instagram. Uh, More or less, I did learn that no one has time for a 30-minute art video. Even as an artist, I've checked out other channels and damn, I'll be halfway falling asleep. I'm like, I hope I ain't that boring. So if I am, sorry, still hit the like button. It's gonna help me out. So all right, here we go. We're gonna go through what I'm seeing here. So I normally start off with my non-photo blue. I have a sheet of typewriter paper. That's more or less for practice and to protect my original drawing. I don't want to smudge any lead. So here I'm kind of going over the demon face that I want to make. I wanted it to be a female with a side view with mouth open, kind of like a lizard tongue sticking out. So I'm just kind of going through with that non-photo blue. So if you notice in the picture, yeah, quick references to the angels. Just to make sure I'm doing a good counterbalance between both of the pictures. So if you notice, I am using that non-photo blue. So in previous videos, I've talked many times about setting your anatomy guidelines. So this is me going through. One of the reasons why I use the non-photo blue is number one, I could do all my figure shaping like I've shown you in previous videos. And the reason why I do that is it allows me to experiment when we're creating without reference. Now, the biggest plus to this old school technique, because it's old school drafting blueprint, get it? Blueprint, not photo blue. But when you're using it, the best part about it is if you make a copy of your original drawing, all that blue, all that figure shape, all that figuring things out, all disappears. So then you just have the direct pencil on your drawing. So that's why I use it, because I'm drawing without any reference. So here, kind of going through, I know for a fact anytime I start erasing with the non-photo blue, I'm struggling a little bit. So something amazing actually happens during this video. So I'm trying to draw this female. It is not going the way that I wanted. Trying to switch things up. I use my eraser, using it again. I didn't like how I was doing the open mouth thing with her with the tongue sticking out. So at this point, I'm frustrated. I'm going to switch things up. So even then, I was still like, I'm holding on to the female. But you know what? The hell with that. I got to switch things up. So that's what we do when we're drawing from our mind, from our imagination. Like something doesn't work, it's just not going to fit. It's not going to counterbalance the other picture that I made of the angels. So at this point, I'm looking at this and I'm like, all right, it's really time to switch this picture up. So there I was looking at that female angel. And I'm like, you know what, bug that. I'm making a dude. So older demon. So at this point, it's going through working on the ears, the non-photo blue, and I could tell I'm getting into a flow because I'm just flying with my pencil. It's all making sense. So I'm going through doing kind of some bone sideburns in a way, I guess. Wanted to do a quick light source up there at the top right of the picture. So now I'm going through adding nose ring, working on the cheeks. Yeah, if you want to age someone up, you use a few extra lines around the certain aspects of the facial features. I'm like, all right, I'm kind of rocking right now. So instead of a small horn on the chin, we're gonna make a long one. Let me add 2 horns on the top. Oh yeah, it's counterbalancing the angels that I made. Now we cooking with butter, and now it's good fried chicken on this picture. You know, yeah, I am a little country. I am from Indiana, but we ain't that corn fed, I guess. But didn't realize how much of an accent I had until start hanging out with folks from New York. They're like, damn, you country. But all right, so now I know what direction I'm going with the demon. So down here, I still got to make that female. So I'm like, all right, let me plot out a little bit of something on the figure shaping. Let me go back to this demon and go ahead on, work on the hair, work on the horns. Yeah. I sped this video up. More than likely, it took me about an hour and a half for this entire process for this video, and then probably another hour just kind of finalizing everything with the pencils. So 2.5 to 3 hours. That's what it normally takes if I do all the correct work at the beginning. When you do the correct work at the beginning, the rest of it's easy. So at this point, I didn't record everything exactly in order, but I drew the little female like I wanted, the little female demon. She got some bangs. You know, obviously, if you pay attention to the other videos, some bangs give me problems, unfortunately. So, working on the little horns on the side, I got a down view. You could tell if you look in closely, those lines that I was talking about. Um, I'm using those, and if you see me jump around with my pencils because I'm taking measurements, the outside of your nostrils should line up with the inside of your eyes. The middle of like your pupils, they'll come down to the corner of your mouth. Uh, few little tricks in there that I should explain more for, and I definitely will on future videos. So now that I got that good old non-photo blue uh, working for me, and I'm sketching things out, it's making sense. I got my good paper, the 11 by 14 paper. I am really rocking right now on this picture with the non-photo blue. So there I was trying to make some demon wings, but then I was thinking about the bat wings and how I don't know. I was all over the place. But still rocking, thinking about how I'm gonna bring those wings out forward. Even on the finalized picture, I didn't do everything uh, to where I wanted it, but that's what happens when you draw. You know, no matter what picture you draw, you could look at it and be like, hell, I don't like it. It's natural, you know. You're only as good as the last picture that you do. And the majority of the time, you always see places that you could improve. But we can't waste all of our time trying to make perfection. We just gotta draw whatever comes out. That's what it is for that moment in time. And that's how you can tell when you look back on your pictures how far you've come. So if you see there, I got my little side sketch paper real quick, and it had like a little Tyrannosaurus with a man that could be a spider. It was a request, but like always, life happens, and sometimes you can't meet all those requests. So as you can see here, I'm going through after I did my non-photo blue, added in a lot of detail. I'm going back over with my point five drafting pencil to add in the small details. So all of this, if I make a copy of the picture, the blue is going to disappear, and all we're going to have is that point five lead on that mechanical pencil showing up, which is it's part of my creative process. Excuse me. It's how I draw, you know. It's how I set everything up. So while I'm getting all the small details to everything, excuse me one moment while I rock out on this picture. Very good. So going back, kind of working on the hair, the long ears. I think I was trying for like some metal on those ears. We got to age up the demon. So that's why you see a lot of the extra lines. So, okay, still rocking out on the ear. I kind of like the general premise to the character working on those horns at the top. I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes I'll just be making stuff up just because it's fun to do. You know, you got that freedom when you don't draw from a reference. And as much as you hate and love the challenge, I'm trying to make something new, but that's what makes it worth it. So right here, I'm going through with HB pencil. It's a it's a darker type of lead. If you think close to charcoal, that's the type of pencil that I'm using. And what I'm doing is varying up lines on the picture. So that way it shows a little bit more depth. So that's the trick of the trade. You don't want all of your lines to have the same thickness. If you want to show a little bit more depth, use a different pencil. Make those lines thicker. And then when you're really on point with your lights and your shadows, that allows you to add so much more depth to your drawing. And on the inking process, from what I know, it just helps you ink a little bit better. So definitely subscribe and like the video. Any help is much appreciated. I'm going to continue to bring out new material for everybody. So yeah, going back through, went back to my 0.5 drafting pencil. That's to add in the small details that to the someone that's someone that's not an artist or into art, they're not going to pick up on, but we know what we did in that aspect. So here, I already did my non-photo blue. I'm going back over the female, the lines that I drew before, and I'm just adding in all that little extra special stuff. You know, typically with the non-photo blue, I do the normal outline to everything, and kind of keep it going that way, and then go back over it a couple of times. This is kind of like a cheat code for drawing without reference, because you have so many times that you go back and fix things before you get to the final picture. So if you go your non-photo blue, you go your 0.5 pencil, yeah, you add depth to your lines by using different grades of pencils. Once we're completed with the whole picture, we get another opportunity, and that's called making a copy of your drawing. Ink the actual copy to the way that you want it to be. You don't ruin your original image. You got your copy, and then scan that ink copy into, your device, your printer. I got an Epson printer, scanner, big old machine to scan in my pictures. Once I make a copy of it, all that blue disappears, which is great. I got a clean original. I got a copy of my original so I can ink. After I ink that copy, I'll scan it in, and then, I can have fun coloring the picture. So that was pretty much the video I wanted to give to you. I'm going to leave you with one tip of the day. When I was hanging out with my family, my nieces, they are growing up so fast, or to that preteen age, and sometimes when I come visit, I'm used to them being babies, and it's hard for me to realize that they are growing up. But one thing came to mind: when I was their age, I didn't want to hang around my uncle, my daddy, my mama. Hell, I had things to do. I had no time for grown folks. So they're hitting that age. So if you're feeling like, damn, these kids don't even like me no more, it's all right. It's growing up. You just gotta remember to think back to the time when you were growing up. You had no time for everybody. So it's part of growing pains. Eventually they'll come back, hopefully. And when they're madly successful, I just want to be the bad security guard for them. Just an old man in my rocking chair, and them be like, all right, Uncle, you got a job. It's cool. Yeah, we love you. So it's the life of an artist. So this is Lug the Artist. I'm signing out tonight, and I want everybody to take care of themselves and love y'all. So I'll let you. One.